Well, hello students. With our SERP activity this week, we in math are going to be discussing climate change, who should pay for the consequences. Alright, so let's just read through this information about the math. It says many people attribute, here's one of our vocabulary terms, many people attribute hurricanes and heat waves to climate change, but those are not the only effects. Climate change can cause more precipitation than usual in some places. This extra rain or snow can lead to flooding and the need to strengthen buildings and shorelines. Other areas receive far less precipitation than normal. Areas experiencing drought, the prolonged absence of water, may have famines, lack of food that force people to relocate, right there, relocate to other areas. Experts project that severe droughts will get worse in the coming years, making water conservation more than just a national interest, but an international priority. Now it's interesting when we read this because if you look back in the history of planet Earth and what the geography tells us, then there's areas of the world that were covered in snow that are not now. There's areas in the world that were gardens, for lack of a better term, and deep in vegetation that might be deserts now. The Earth is ever changing. But let's talk about some things that are recommended in this article. Option 1, as of 2016, about 1/4 of home water usage. 1/4, gosh, we're studying math right now, and 1/4, guys, is 1/4. We're studying fraction decimal percents, which is this decimal, but that's also 75%, or I can't believe I just said that, is this decimal, 20.25, which is also 25%. I was writing the wrong number down there. And so it's saying 25% of home water usage can be attributed to toilet flushes. Interesting information, right? Toilets installed before 1992 use about 5 gallons of water, important to look at this number, per flush. Newer toilets use about 1.5 gallons per flush. If people flush the toilet an average of 5 times a day, about how many gallons of water could one person save in 1 year by using a newer toilet? Okay, well, let's think about it. 5 times a day, 5 gallons per flush would be 25 gallons per day that an older toilet would be used. 25 gallons per day times 350 days per year. That's going to give you the gallons flushed per year on the average person with an older toilet, okay? So let's take a look here. Ready? You got 25 times 352 times 352. And that gives us, check that out, 8,800 gallons per year / year. Now, I just did a unit rate, didn't I? Right there. There are 352 days per year. So that's 8,800 gallons per year. Alright, let's look now if we used a newer toilet, okay? Well, if we used a newer toilet, that's 5 times 1.5, right? Because still 5 times you go to the bathroom a day is what they're saying, times 1.5, and that equals 7.5. So how interesting is that? Instead of 25 gallons per day, it's 7.5 gallons per day times 352 days per year / year. Let's do that now. Ready? Times 352, 2,640. Oh my goodness, look at the difference. 2,640 gallons per year. Wow, right? So if I were to subtract the two, let's go 8,800 minus 2,640, right? 8,800 minus 2,640. oops, let's see here, 640. Look at that. You would save 6,160 gallons per year. Gallons per year. Wow, what a difference, huh? So let's look over here. It says about how many gallons of water could one person save in 1 year by using a newer toilet. Now, because it said about, it's rounding, isn't it? Which number is the closest? Well, if I do 6,160, it's closer to 6,400. So I'm going to circle that one. Okay. Now let's look at option 2. Statistics show that it takes 1,000 gallons of water to feed one American for 1 day, which is much higher than the global average. The high water use can be largely attributed to meat production. Consider this fact. Between feeding the growing cow and processing the meat, about 630 gallons of water go into one hamburger. Interesting. So develop a quantitative question that interests you about your classmates' meat consumption. For example, your question could be, how many hamburgers do you eat per week? Record your classmates' responses on a line plot and describe the range, median, and mean of your data set. All right, so really what that means here, if you do statistics, and let's just look at an example, all right? Let's say you did a survey and you had, we're just going to give an example for you, 24 students in your class. All right? Now, if we had 24 students in our class and it says, for example, how many hamburgers do you eat per week out of those 24 students? All right. I can say, if you're a vegetarian, you don't eat any. So, 0 times per week. We're going to say that is 2 students out of that 24. Okay? Hamburgers, let's say the hamburgers can include not just the sandwiches, but if you put hamburger in something, like some people put it in spaghetti, some people put it in hamburger helper. So let's when we're thinking about this, remember that. Let's say that 10 students, or I'm sorry, let's see here, I said that wrong. Let's say that 10 goes there. Let's say 3 times per week is 10 students. Let's say 1 time per week is, we'll say, 12 students. Now take a look here. We've already got our information just to use as an example, and that adds up to 24 students. Okay? Now let's look at, it says response on a line plot. Some of this stuff we haven't practiced yet in 6th grade, but here's what we're going to do. A line plot could start at 0, 1, 2, 3, like that. We could do this. And 0 times per week, I'm going to put 2 marks here, just like that. 1 time per week, let's say 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We're just going up into there. 2 times per week, I'll just leave it blank since I don't have any in our practice run. And 3 times per week could be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? That's your line plot. That's how it looks. Describe the range, median, and mean. Range would be this number minus this number. 3 minus 0 equals 3 for the range. That's a difference between the highest and lowest number. Median would be the middle number. Well, if we look here, there's 24 students, right? And so middle would be between 12 and 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it actually, the middle number or median is 1. And then the mean, you add all these up and you divide by 24 students, right? So let's see here. What is the average? So this adds up to 0. There are 12 here. 12 times 2 is, there's 12 here. 12 times 1, sorry, is 12. There are 3 here. 3 times 10 is 30. So that is 42. And 24 goes into 42. You can even type it in your calculator if you want. You're going to get 1.75. So the average person eats hamburger 1.75 times per week. Or we could say round it to about 2 times per week. Okay? There you go. So that gives you some information. Now, discuss and question. Many attribute the severity of California's long-term drought to climate change. Californians have taken steps to reduce their water waste, like fixing leaks at home and using brooms instead of water hoses to clean sidewalks. Californians may be decreasing water consumption, but statistics have shown that the average American uses about 100 gallons of water per day. This is twice the amount of an average European uses, and more than 50 times the amount residents of sub-Saharan Africa use. Since scientists project more frequent and severe droughts, what are some strategies that communities and governments could adopt to reduce water consumption in the United States? Alright, this is just where you guys would think of some lists that you could add. Thank you.